Welcome to PLZsoccer.com live. We always like to keep you right up to date with what's happening, not only for the previews of the Scottish Cup quarter-final ties, but of course European football when we still have Scottish clubs involved at this level. Europa League is the main focus of attention, and of course it's Fenerbahce against Rangers not too far away until kick-off. Our man Blair Malloy is out there in Istanbul. Blair, what a tough job it is for Barry Ferguson, untested at this level as a manager, trying to steady the ship with Rangers against a manager who is well used to winning at every level in Europe. And it's José Mourinho's Fenerbahce that Rangers have somehow got to try and orchestrate a half-decent result to keep this alive for the second leg.
Yes, Peter, good evening from the Ulker Stadium here in downtown Istanbul. You can see the city over my shoulder here, and as you say, it couldn't be any bigger a task for Barry Ferguson that he finds himself in. And remember, just his third game as Rangers manager. He was asked last night in the press conference all about how does he feel that he was a Rangers ambassador less than 3 weeks ago, and now he is leading the team out and will be in the dugout this evening, going toe-to-toe with, as you mentioned, one of the most decorated men in the game, José Mourinho, the only man, of course, to lift all three European trophies, the UEFA Cup, as it was back then with Porto, the Champions League twice with Porto and Inter Milan, and then winning the Conference League with Roma, with a Europa League for Manchester United sandwiched in there as well to boot. So it will certainly be a difficult task for Ferguson tonight. He spoke last night about how he's really looking forward to taking it on. He seems like a man, as in his playing days, who will thrive under this pressure of being up against Mourinho, and he's certainly got a task on his hands. Everyone who has been following Scottish football, as I'm sure our viewers have been, will know that Rangers domestically have not been in good form recently, losing those 3 games in a row at Ibrox, and of course coming off the back of that 2-1 loss to Motherwell. So it's certainly going to be a difficult game for Barry Ferguson tonight. I was speaking to a few fans out in Istanbul this afternoon. They say they'd be happy with just staying in the tie, just coming back with a narrow loss, maybe a draw, and they're happy to see Ferguson back in the dugout and really making his mark.
Well, I was going to say to you, Blair, if Barry Ferguson can somehow orchestrate a positive result for Rangers to keep it alive, I think he deserves great credit, because everybody's wondering how he's going to solve the problem of Rangers' weak back line. That's the key to this, is trying to not concede or concede as few goals as possible to try and keep it alive.
Yes, well, there's certainly been mixed results with the back line in Rangers in the last few weeks. We've seen James Tavernier being put at centre-back. Will it be John Souttar and Liam Balogun back in this evening? Time will only tell when the team news drops, but Barry Ferguson knows that he's certainly got a job on his hands with that defence coming up against, in his own words, he says that Fenerbahce could go on and win this competition. They have an array of attacking talents. You've got the likes of Dusan Tadic, you've got Filip Kostic on loan from Juventus, and of course you've still got the imperious Edin Dzeko up front. The attacking riches are so much that even Alan Saint-Maximin, viewers may recognise that name from Newcastle, he can't get in the team this year. So they've got plenty of options up front for the Rangers backline to deal with. And how will Jack Butland, how will he fare in this atmosphere? He obviously made that high-profile mistake at the weekend. Time will only tell to see if this Rangers team can shut out Fenerbahce at one end, and then can they make their mark going forward. As we spoke about, Rangers are a different animal in Europe this season. They seem to score and pull out goals when they look so unlikely. Cyril Dessers, much maligned at times, he scored that great goal at Old Trafford. Hamza Igman has shown moments of promise as well. Can one of them pull off an excellent moment tonight to write them into Rangers history books?
Well, you'll be happy to know, Blair, the last time I was in Istanbul, it was actually Fenerbahce against Rangers. And the fans are known for being, hyper, to say the least. There was 20,000 of them inside the ground, and they stoned the press bus, and we hadn't even done anything to them. So I was just wondering, what's the atmosphere like now in 2025?
I was actually looking up a few pictures from that game earlier on, Peter, the likes of Ronald de Boer taking their place for Rangers that day. Of course, it was a disappointing loss back in 2001. Interesting to hear about the Fenerbahce fans back in the day. I must admit, it has been a lot quieter round about the stadium in the last few days. No such stoning in my hotel rooms or such, but it's been nice in the last few days. Today, however, I've noticed a marked increase in the amount of Fenerbahce fans gathering around the stadium about 4 hours before kick-off. Would you believe they were starting to fill the park in the little district just outside the stadium here. This Kadikoy district that I've been staying in for the past couple of days, it's really notable just how much Fenerbahce means to the people here. Every single place you go, there's a Fenerbahce flag, there's Fenerbahce pendants. I even came across a Fenerbahce cowboy hat in one of the shops this afternoon, and all the curbstones are painted yellow and blue. Fenerbahce is life to the fans around these parts, and they won't accept second best. They'll be looking to make it to the final in Bilbao this year, but first they're going to have to get by Barry Ferguson and Rangers.
Brilliant, thanks to Blair Malloy, and knowing Blair's fashion sense as I do, it's only a matter of time that he'll come back with that Fenerbahce cowboy hat to go with the Fenerbahce jacket that you can clearly see that he's bought there inside that stadium. Anyway, brilliant to hear from him, keeping us right up to date. And the good thing about Blair is he will be speaking to José Mourinho and Barry Ferguson after the match and giving us his full-time report on that game. Let's keep our fingers crossed that Rangers can indeed produce a performance similar to some of the great performances they've been putting in Europe over the last 5-6 years, even longer, to drive that coefficient for Scotland. Fenerbahce against Rangers, you can stay up to date with all the action as it happens, all the reaction as well from the Fenerbahce Rangers match on PLZ Soccer's social media channels. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, or even better, why not download the app, and you'll get all the breaking news, including the up-to-date news from Blair Malloy in Istanbul.